So, you're ready to purchase the vehicle but don't know where to start? Come visit us at Express Imports Inc. We're your one-stop shop, stocking a wide range of quality used vehicles to meet your every need. From sign-up and referrals to registration and routine maintenance, we're here for you. Give us a call at 537-0141 or come down to our Green Hill St. Michael location. Opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You can also join the Express family from the comfort of your home or office by using our online sign-up and viewing options. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Express Imports Inc.
The year 2021 was one filled with many of trials and tribulations, and with the COVID-19 pandemic still impacting the world and certainly the global cricketing community, many have had to find a way to cope with increased biosecure bubbles, extended time on international tours, and even more significantly, time away from the people they love the most. For Jason Holder, the world's #1 all-rounder, it has been no different. In fact, this has been one of the most turbulent years in his career, with many lessons learned. However, like the many battles he has faced throughout his cricketing journey, the sweat, the blood, and the tears, he's handled them all with the charisma not only on, but also off the field. I am Nikul Uttamchandani. Join me for this special interview with the man himself, Jason Holder. Born to Barbadian parents Denise and Ronald, cricket was always a dream for a young boy from St. George who just wanted to play with friends, family, and simply anywhere he could find a bat and ball. But little did they know that Bajan boy would go from playing cover drives in the streets to scoring double hundreds at the region's mecca, Kensington Oval.
Short arm pull again to the fence, and Jason Holder is enjoying his finest day here at the Kensington Oval. He has gone through to a double hundred. What a day he's having.
When you think of the greats to play the game of cricket, Brian Lara, Courtney Walsh, Sir Garfield Sobers, Gordon Greenidge, Malcolm Marshall are all names that instantly come to mind. Their name is synonymous with greatness, but there are some on a similar trajectory, heading to the pinnacle.
And a miss, a confident appeal. Gets the nod of the umpire, so Jason Holder strikes.
Jason Holder did not have to wait long for reconfirmation of an 8th 5-wicket haul in Test match cricket.
One of those is former West Indies captain Jason Holder. Credited as the #1 Test all-rounder today, a place which he has held for 3 years, Holder has achieved many feats in his 7-year career to date, cementing his legacy as one of the best West Indian all-rounders to ever play the game. But his everlasting impact goes beyond the countless 5-wicket hauls he has taken or the numerous times he has raised his bat. It is the inspiration he has given to thousands of boys and girls across the globe to play the sport. Gaining captaincy at the tender age of 23, Holder was forced to grow up and mature quickly, taking on one of the largest high-intensity roles in cricket, and certainly the biggest of his career. He never knew what to truly expect, but put his love and passion for West Indies cricket first, committing to doing anything to aid in its elevation. After his leadership was highlighted by cricketing stalwarts like the then chairman of selectors Sir Clive Loyd, or even former West Indian captain Sir Vivian Richards, it was only a matter of time before he led the region. Something about Holder's mere presence on the field just exhibited authority, which has been seen many times across his career to date. Many will remember the gutsy draw versus India at Sabina Park in 2016, when he rallied his troops to survive the wrath of one of the best Test nations at the time. Or even the West Indies' first victory in the UAE in Sharjah, where from an unthinkable position of 68 for 4, Holder again managed to stir something in his teammates to get them over the line, chasing 153 on a challenging 5th day pitch. All in all, it may have been an up and down road for him as captain, but his commitment and dedication to the role and the West Indies will never be questioned. Through the adversity, he has continued to rise to new heights, attaining the unachievable, and he is far from finished.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of Kure Oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
There's a PediaLyte for everyone at home. Whether it's heat, sports, travel, or if someone is sick, PediaLyte Liters provides fast, effective rehydration and have zinc, which supports the immune system. Live hydrated with PediaLyte.
Jason Holder, it's been an extremely long year. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, it's good to get home, refresh after a pretty hectic schedule over the last probably 18 months. This is probably my first real break that I've had, and it's been good to be home. Haven't seen familiar faces here for a little while, so it's good to catch up with my friends, family, and to be back home, settled for a little bit in one particular location.
Well, no place like home. And Jason, I want to take this time out to sort of, speak to you about your overall journey in cricket, because I think there are a lot of people that look up to you, look up to people at the highest level, and want to know sort of the in-depth about a Jason Holder. How did he make it to the highest level? And to do that, you start from the beginning. So as a young boy growing up in Barbados, where did that love, that passion for the game of cricket come from? Do you remember that moment where you really realized, I have a deep love for this game?
Well, I think like most youngsters, you grow that passion and love from seeing it on TV. Unfortunately, I didn't have any family members who were directly involved in cricket. So my passion grew from my peers at school, playing on the school pastures, the school hard courts, which we did a lot. And, I just grew a different passion for it there. And then obviously seeing people like Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Brian Lara, who were absolutely inspirational in my push or drive into cricket. Seeing the spectacular feats of the West Indies cricket team back then, and then seeing their personal accolades, really inspired me as well too. So, yeah, I think that's where it really started for me. I had the opportunity in 2002, 4 and 6 with the Wanderers Cricket Club, and that's where everything really was clear to me, that I wanted to give cricket a fair shot and make it a profession. After seeing the UK and those trips and playing against foreign opposition, I felt as though it's something I could really do. They were successful tours for me personally. And as a group, I think it really did a lot for the youngsters in that development program. And I owe a lot to Wanderers Cricket Club.
In terms of the level of seriousness you would have felt at school, because you didn't mention, but obviously you were a student of the St. Michael's School. I know that has played a key part in your development. What were your days at St. Michael like in terms of cricket, managing school, etc.?
Well, I owe everything to Ezra Mosley. Yeah, he was obviously at the forefront of my development, or pushing my cricket to the next level. When I came into contact with Mr. Mosley, I was talented, yes. I had played for Barbados before, but it was now about how to kick-start or push my career a little bit further. And Mr. Mosley taught me everything, man, in terms of bowling. He's a magician with the ball. One of the things that always stood out is he said as batters, we must be always able to play the swinging ball. So something that we really push in practice is actually scratching the balls to add that extra swing and make it a bigger challenge. So not only did you get the experience and challenge to bowl a swinging ball, but you had the experience and challenge to bat in it. And I think that has done a lot for my game personally. And just seeing the way he went about playing the game with us, because he would have played with us in the second division, and you know that was just exactly what I needed at that particular time. You know, being able to be taught the skills, but I'm actually getting the opportunity to be up front and close with Mr. Mosley while doing it. You know, in the heat of the battle on the cricket field.
Yeah, just note he said at practice and not scratchy in the game. But Jason, you know, obviously from the stories that we've shared and from what the information I've heard, and the man I know Ezra Mosley to be, the late great, I must say, obviously I know he played a really instrumental part in your life. How difficult was it to learn? I know you were on tour at the time. How difficult was it to learn the news, you know, that of his passing in such an unfortunate circumstance?
Yeah, it was a long day for me personally. We were actually at training in Antigua preparing, I can't remember for which game in the Super 50, but it was during the Super 50 competition. We got the news. Our manager was actually sat off to the side while we were warming up, you know, and he got the news on his phone. And he just went into a big outburst, you know, crying and stuff like that. And we knew something was wrong. We didn't exactly know what was wrong at that time. And it's only after we finished warming up and we went to find out what was going on, then we understood that it was Mr. Mosley who was struck and passed away. It was hard, you know. At that time, you just recount all the events that you would have had with the individual, all the memories you would have shared, you know, the hardships, you know, just that blood, sweat, and tears that you would have been through with Mr. Mosley, and it left I wouldn't say a hole or a space, but it left a bitter feeling within me personally, knowing, you know, how he passed away, you know, and then trying to motivate yourself. Then obviously to get through training was tough. So we all pretty much took a break, and practice would normally, I guess, run for like 2 or 3 hours, but that one took a little longer, obviously, because we needed some time just to sit back and reflect. Because Mr. Mosley would have obviously played a hand in most individuals in our team's development. You know, some of us, you know, directly involved with Mr. Mosley when it came to a personal or one-on-one coaching standpoint, and then many of us, obviously, in a group under group circumstances with different age group teams, Barbados teams, you know, youth programs, youth development programs. So he played a big part in everybody's development, and we really felt it that day, and we wanted to do something really special on the back of that. Obviously, it didn't materialize the way we wanted to in the tournament, but I think that was a bit of a pill to swallow at that stage of the tournament, and something that didn't really sit well with all of us.
Yeah, completely understandable. And also, you know, may his great soul rest in peace. I know you and so many others in that team and in the West Indies team continue to carry on his legacy. And one way I think that is clear that you've done that is in terms of your leadership. You know, it's definitely something that he would have instilled in you from school days. And from a very early age in your career, now in your 7th year, you know, the likes of Tony Cozier, who was a part of Wonders, the great Loyd, who was chairman of selectors at the time when you made your way into the team, even Brian Lara, all saw leadership in you. Less than 1 year in the West Indies team, there you get that big call in terms of captaincy. Do you remember sort of how you reacted just coming into the team and then, you know, getting this big call to captain?
Yeah, at that stage I was also obviously very shocked. I was in South Africa at that stage, 2014. Remember when I was offered the captaincy of the one-day team, and we had a tour prior to that to India, the tour which was called off, and you know, we boycotted the tour, and I was part of that tour as well. So it was a tough situation for me, because I was part of the tour where we walked off, and then you had Dwayne Bravo, who was then captain, and you know, him and I have always had a really good relationship. So to then know him being pushed on and kind of quote unquote being blamed for the outcome of that tour, to then me now going on the subsequent tour and being offered the captaincy, it was a bit controversial for me. I did have to consult with people close to me. I actually had a real long conversation with Dwayne as well too, and you know, I could tell that it was like walking on eggshells for a little bit, you know, but he didn't encourage me to take it. And, you know, I had a conversation with obviously Loyd, who was the then chairman of selectors. Richard Richardson was our team manager. You know, he was very, very supportive, you know, into whatever decision I wanted to make. You know, he's always been in my corner as well too, so I owe him a lot. And it was just trying to sit down to decipher the whole context of the scenario and trying to make a smart decision. You know, I mean, I always tell people if I don't know the grand scope of captaining West Indies, maybe at that age I wouldn't have taken it. But you know, I don't live with regrets. I've definitely learned a lot. It's grown me in so many different ways, and it's taught me a lot. You know, I always tell people when I took the captaincy I was a boy, but shortly after I had to become a man, because just the magnitude of the post. And at that stage, I guess I was a little naive, not understanding the full context of what leadership meant in terms of a West Indies cricket team. I just pretty much saw from a tactical standpoint and on-field play, but I didn't really get the broad scope as it relates to the politics, you know, the inter-island confrontation, selection. Selection is and will always be an ongoing dilemma in West Indies cricket, and that for me was the hardest part about it, you know, and then managing expectation, because people obviously want good results. You know, when you look at the history of West Indies cricket in the last 20 years, you know, we've been pretty much at the bottom. You know, we've been consistently inconsistent. That's the best way you could put it. But people expect us to suddenly turn around, I don't want to say mediocrity, but underperformances, and then suddenly change it into something spectacular. But when you look at the grand scheme of everything in terms of our regional cricket, the development programs, it's hard for us to make a steady progression forward, because we just simply don't have the infrastructure to do it. So those are the difficulties I had at that stage and learning about captaincy. I think on the field stuff, people would always have their opinion as to I could have done things differently or whatever the case may be, but I felt that was the easy part. It's the off the field stuff that was extremely difficult.
And you know, you mentioned sort of that criticism that you face, the external noise that you face. You know, you were spent a lot of years in terms of the captaincy. Many different players came through those ranks. In terms of that challenge for you, but also, how did you deal with that external noise as a player? I know you still have to deal with it as just a player, but imagine then a captain, the team facing poor performances with you at the helm. Did you find that criticism was just, or what do you think was sort of the main underlying reasons or problems with those teams that you would have led?
I can tell you now, I just don't care. You know, that's my mindset right now. I just don't care. And I wasn't always that way. I had to develop that and learn that regardless of whatever you do, people have an opinion. But early on, I particularly lost way with trying to handle too many issues off the field. And when I say issues, just relating to my players and the team dynamic and that kind of thing. So there were many battles that I was fighting off the field, trying to make the whole system a little better. And then I just basically realized that there isn't much more I could do or much I can do in terms of changing it. So I accepted that, and I think my cricket kind of dipped or low, you know, because I got so caught up with the off-the-field interference, and I suddenly had to realize, look, my first priority is always playing cricket. You know, if I don't perform in the cricket field, I can't captain the team. You know, so I had to then just basically recap, rethink, reanalyze, and just plow a new way forward. You know, for me, I just had to adopt that don't care mentality to just knock all the naysayers and all the external noise away. And yeah, for me, it was probably that point where I remember us touring UAE. That particular tour, I never forget it. We were leaving to go to Dubai. And the chairman selectors then, Courtney Brown, sat me down and basically said, big man, is either you give me something here now or, you know, that could be it. You know, and that conversation was one of the hardest but most eye-opening conversations I would have ever had, man. And I respect Courtney Brown 100%, man. And him and I have always been very good, still very good to this day. But that conversation made me really dive into what he was actually talking about. You know, I didn't think as though my position was threatened or my place in the team was being threatened. But then when I sat back and analyzed my performances over the time, it wasn't great. And I remember playing that tournament. I sat down in a taxi. It was myself, Carlos, Shane. We were going to get dinner that night. And we were all talking about the whole situation. And I said to them, like, since I've been in the West Indies team to now, I've never been dropped. So now to be suddenly faced with the proposition of being potentially dropped after this tour if I don't perform, I just had a laugh because I couldn't believe it. And I said to them straight up, like, if this is my last going on, I'm looking to enjoy it. We had a brilliant time off the field. I must say we had because I think I celebrated my birthday. Shane celebrated his birthday on that tour, and we had a grand time off the field. And then we played some decent cricket as well too. So all in all, it was a good tour. I did well with the bat up to the point in the last test match. The last test match is always the one that stands out. I will remember from the rest of my life because we won away in the UAE, in Sharjah, where I don't think any West Indies team had not done for a while, or if ever. And I got my first 5-wicket haul in that game, and I pretty much was pretty dry with wickets leading up to that last innings as well too. And to get the 5-wicket haul in the manner which I did, and then we going on to win that game was extremely special. We didn't win the series, but you could see that that was pretty much the defining moment or the turning point in not only my career but in that team's progression. And you know, I could say under my captaincy and the test team, particularly in that stint, it was basically us trying to rebuild, restructure, and then kind of rebrand West Indies test cricket. And we had beaten England, we had beaten Zimbabwe, we had beaten Afghanistan. We'd won test matches, a lot of test matches against good opposition, which we'd struggled to do in the past. So you could definitely see we were heading in the right direction. And then 1 or 2 bad series there, and then you know suddenly I'm out of my position again. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I understand that that's how life is. You know, there's nothing constant, man. There's nothing constant, and accepting no coming back into this for now as a player. It was hard at first, but now I'm pretty much to the point where I just don't care. I just really don't care about, you know, what people may think, what people may say. I think I'm past the leadership. Like if I was to be offered again to captain West Indies, I don't think I'll take it. I think I've had that experience. I don't think I need to go back there. You know, for me, it's just about looking after myself now, and still looking after the development of West Indies cricket. So people like Jaden Seals, I have a keen interest in. Joshua De Silva, who's coming to the team. Jeremy Salazano, who just would have made his debut. You know, that is for me my project. And I feel as though I've got a lot to do with their development, helping them to be the best they can be at this early stage of their career, and showing them the ropes as to how to get by and be successful at international level. Because I've obviously had a little bit of success myself, and I feel as though I've got a real good understanding of how Test cricket particularly works. And I just feel as though that's where my leadership has, you know, shifted towards.
Kure Oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of Kure Oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
When dehydration strikes, adults and kids can get advanced rehydration from PediaLyte. PediaLyte liters quickly replenish lost fluids, zinc and electrolytes to help prevent dehydration and to help you feel better fast.
You mentioned something in that just now where you talked about the fact that you're obviously not captain anymore. At the beginning of 2021, you opted out of the Bangladesh series, COVID-19, etc. was in high peak. Then the captaincy went to Craig Brathwaite, someone that you obviously have a really good relationship with, same club, under 19 World Cup all the way through. How difficult was that moment for you, you know, at that age, sort of to understand after so long, you know, you would be giving up the Test captaincy, and do you remember sort of what was your initial reaction?
I was hurt. I was hurt not at the decision. The decision came as a shock to me, but I was just hurt by the way it was handled. You know, I hadn't heard anything officially or from the coaches, director of cricket, selectors, nothing about the captaincy. You know, you would obviously hear the outside noise and people's opinions, but I never took that on, you know, because I just feel that there's a lot of rubbish. But didn't go to Bangladesh. I left New Zealand. I remember leaving New Zealand. Had a week home. Then we were meant to tour Bangladesh. And I said to the guys after the last Test match in New Zealand, I honestly don't know if I'm going to Bangladesh. And I had already signed a Big Bash contract. I had signed Big Bash to play 3 games in Australia. So I left New Zealand and actually went to Australia to play the 3 games and went back home. But had I known how I was going to feel after New Zealand, I would have never gone to Big Bash. I was just so mentally exhausted and frustrated that I really needed a break. So I felt honesty was the best thing to be had at that stage in New Zealand. So I said to the guys in a team meeting that, look guys, I don't think I'll be going to Bangladesh. To see how it all panned out and played out afterwards, I can't say no in hindsight. I am surprised. I guess at that stage it was a shock to me, but now that I've deciphered everything and seen how things have transpired over the years in West Indies cricket, it's not a shock. But I was just so disappointed with how it was done. Honestly speaking, relationships have been broken since that decision was made. But look, I am not one to hold on to things either. So I guess I'm in a rebuilding stage when it comes to those relationships. And I don't want to name the relationships, but yeah, we've had some pretty deep conversations over the last couple of months, which I feel is necessary as well too. That's growth. And I'm past it now. I'm past that dilemma in terms of being stripped to the captaincy. But for me now, it's just about finding my new drive, you know. And I think my new drive is now to get better and just be the best Jason Holder. Now, whether that may be on the field, scoring 500s in a calendar year, or taking 100 wickets in another 25 Test matches, or whether that may be really driving a different culture in West Indies cricket when it comes to preparation, professionalism, discipline, whatever that may be. You know, I just think that that's my new drive. And I've worked closely with Monty Desai, who's our batting coach, and him and I've got a real good personal relationship, which I feel has helped me significantly through this period, or that transition back to being a regular player in the dressing room. I can't thank him enough. You know, I've said to him on numerous occasions, man, had not been for him, I don't know where I'd be, because I was really, really frustrated. I felt battered and bruised by how I was treated, and he helped me through a significant amount. So kudos to him. I'm thankful for him, and you know, we got a really good relationship, so I'm sure that'll continue.
And I think that just sort of highlights your passion for the game, a passion for leadership and leading the West Indies, leading a nation to success and to great heights. You know, in terms of that captaincy, I want to spend some time on it because it must have been a difficult situation for you, given the fact that Craig Brathwaite, who took over from you, obviously had a great relationship with being at Wonders Cricket Club. He, you know, on the 19 World Cup, you guys played together for so many years. He's been in your teams over the years. What's the relationship like now, and sort of how difficult were those conversations at first between you and Craig?
Our relationship is good. I can't say it's any different to what it used to be. I have sent him and told him personally, look, whatever he needs, you know, I'll be willing to help out with. And I don't think we ever really had a sit-down chat. You know, we would have had maybe a brief word here and there, but it was never wrong. I mean, it was out of his control and my control, to be honest. So it's not to say that he had any direct impact on the decision, I believe. So he's not to blame, or he's not to be confronted, you know. So I don't think our relationship has ever changed, and you know, I'm really supportive of him, and I try my best to really give him as much as I can. You know, one of the hardest things I've found is trying to allow him to do his job his way. You know, that's something that I had to really step back. So I said to him up front, like, Craig, you're really in a position where, you know, I got to allow you to do what you need to do. And I don't want to feel as though I'm imposing, you know, telling him what he should be doing or, you know, whatever the case may be. But I feel as though, like, he's got to make mistakes and learn from them. Again, if he wants my opinion, he can always come. You know, I would never, ever shy away from giving him my opinion. But it's not a situation where I feel as though I would kind of impose and tell him or suggest or keep being in his mind and his ear. You know, sometimes I don't know if you know, sometimes I may go to the boundary as well too, because I feel as though I just need him to know that he can do it or he should do it his way. You know, and the other guys around him, and that we need to find new leaders as well too. So the other younger guys around him need to be able to understand the game and give him the information as well too. And then the senior guys like myself, Kimar, Shannon, you know, we should not really sit on the peripheral, but not be as hands-on when it comes to that. We give our opinions and we structure things more so from an off-the-field standpoint, but on the field, I feel as though, like, you know, we should really allow him to grow. You know, he knows that he can come to us for anything. You know, once he comes to us, we will give him whatever he needs. But overall, I just think me and Craig are very good. No malice, no animosity. You know, we all pretty good, and I don't think our relationship has ever changed.
You know, you mentioned the relationship and this leadership, but since you have, you know, been removed as captain, we've still seen that on the field. I'm gonna take a look at this moment right here, where it's displayed some of your leadership on the field.
Happy hooker, boy, happy hooker.
Mind, body and spirit into this contest, Jason Holder.
Has to take his horn. Remember, you got your arm broken last time you were here, boy.
So brilliant to see.
Stay your feet down.
Former captain giving support to the current captain. Loves his golf.
Nice,
Takes a lot of pride in his alternative sport.
No, I mean, like, that was just me trying to stay attuned. I think, again, a difficult point of transitioning back into being a player was now my mind is not constantly ticking about the team. So on the field of play, like, as a captain, you're trying to think ahead, think of who to bowl, you know, what fields to set, you know, trying to read the game and understand, like, if I need to slow the game down, if I need to rush through some overs. Yeah, I don't have the overrate scenario to think about anymore. So all those things used to be in my brain, and I was constantly just ticking over. Now I feel as though I'm almost bored in the field. You know, I just stand up in the field and not much happening. Like, West Indies team is not a team to sledge. We kind of just real laid back, and I'll be very honest, we kind of soft when it comes to being, you know, a little bit more ruthless and being engaged and getting in people's face. We're not that kind of team. So, like, me standing up in slip or me standing up on the boundary, I've been aware of it. I just get bored, you know. And at that stage of the game, like, nothing was going on. We were trying out to break a partnership, and I am a big fan of Dan and Jay. You know, him and I are very good as well too. So, yeah, I was feeling the feeling, and that was just what came out at that particular time. But yeah, it's nothing deep or serious about it. You know, just in heating battle. You know, you're trying to just play a little mind games, trying to get into batsman's head. You know, trying to just throw them off a little bit in whatever we're trying to break a partnership. And I'm not sure if it worked in that situation. I think he batted through that evening session, but got out early in the morning session. So yeah, that was it in a nutshell.
Yeah, Jason, in terms of, yeah, that's a great story, honestly, just to see the interaction between you two. Then on the flip side, when you went to Sri Lanka as well. But let's look at the overall, we're on Test cricket, let's look at the Test team, because I remember when you were captain and the World Test Championship came around, you felt, given what we have in the West Indies, talent-wise, what's to come, this was before the COVID-19 pandemic, you said publicly that you believe this West Indies team can become one of the top 4 or 5 Test playing nations in the world. Now, given 2 years from that, a lot of Test cricket has been played. Credit to whoever's organized the ICC, etc., to have the West Indies playing so much Test cricket. You've also had alternate angles to look from afar in just a player role. How do you reflect on that comment now? Do you still think it's something where this West Indies team, given what we have, can get to that level in those top 5 nations?
100%. I just think the disappointing thing is that we still struggle to put runs on the board, which has really hampered our our quest into pushing up the Test Championship rankings. If you ask me if we've got what it takes, I 100% believe that, but for whatever reason, we just can't produce consistent runs. And it has been a cry even when I was captain. You know, I think in the last, well, prior to COVID, you know, our runs came from 6, 7, 8, you know, which would have been myself, Shane, and Roston. You know, the only other exception to that would have been Craig, you know, who would have, you know, been here and there with a score, but consistently struggle. But now after that tour of Bangladesh, you know, again, you could look at our performances. We had a decent tour against Sri Lanka in the Caribbean, which I felt we should have won, but we couldn't. We got beaten against South Africa, outplayed totally. Then we went back to, well, we had Pakistan came, and I felt that we got a get out of jail free card in the first Test match. But again, it just shows you the depth of the team, and we won in a tight situation, so credit to us. But then losing the second Test match in the manner which we lost it, you know, it kind of was a downing factor, because I feel as though we kind of playing these same teams who've come to the Caribbean. Like Pakistan has been in the Caribbean in the last 6 years about 3 times, and in each series we've had opportunities to beat them. You know, but we kind of just fall back into that same pattern and end up either losing the series or drawing the series. So that was another drawn series there. And then going to Sri Lanka again, that was extremely disappointing again. You know, we were outplayed. So you look at our whole calendar year of cricket, and we've won one Test match against, well, Bangladesh was at the end of last year. So, I mean, if you look at 2021, we've won one Test match against Pakistan, and we've lost 3, which would be 1 against Pakistan again and 2 against Sri Lanka, and then we've drawn 2 against Sri Lanka early up in the year. So it just doesn't look like if overall we had a great year. You know, I feel as though with the potential and talent in dressing, we should have done a lot better. But those are just like kind of the factors that would stop us from being consistently in the top 5s. But hopefully next year we've got England coming, who I feel as though we are on par with the way they've been playing, you know, and they've been struggling for runs as well too. We went to England last time, we put up a really good show as well too. So I'm looking forward to that tour, and it's good it being, I think it's March, where we've got a whole season of first class cricket to be played, and then we'll go into that Test series. So it's not to say guys won't be playing any cricket. Guys should be, you know, at least having some cricket behind them and bringing some real form into that series, which should be exciting.
More oxygen means more energy, means more adventure. Pure Oxygen, natural spring water infused with more oxygen to improve your energy, immunity and performance. The next generation of hydration. Pure Oxygen, nature's ultimate water.
So, you're ready to purchase the vehicle but don't know where to start? Come visit us at Express Imports Inc. We're your one-stop shop, stocking a wide range of quality used vehicles to meet your every need. From sign-up and referrals to registration and routine maintenance, we're here for you. Give us a call at 537-0141 or come down to our Green Hill St. Michael location. Opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You can also join the Express family from the comfort of your home or office by using our online sign-up and viewing options. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Express Imports Inc.
Yeah, last couple here, Jason. In terms of, obviously we're looking forward to that England series because we remember your historic double 100 at Kensington Oval against England in 2019. But on the holistic view of West Indies cricket, you sit at a really privileged position because you know everything about the system, the structure of West Indies cricket. If you had to pick one thing that gets us back to those promised days, those days of success in all three formats across all levels, what would that be? What do you think is that one thing that we need to carry us to that another level to compete with the Australias, the Indias, Englands consistently?
I think we need a better system, a better structure. I want to say that I simply mean we've got to now try to use the little monetary resources we've got. I want to say little, I say a little in comparison to an Australia, India, England, but try to use the little or relatively small monetary resources we've got and trying to make it into a better package. And I don't want to sound critical of the organization because I feel as though Johnny Grave and his team have done an exceptional job under the circumstances. But for instance, when I look at the franchise system, for me, the franchise system is the most disappointing thing so far, since its inception, and I think that would have been in 2016, 15. I can't remember when it was, but that has not materialized into what it should be. We've got all of our cricketers coming through the franchise system, but we can't seem to have consistent, good facilities, full-time trainers, full-time physios, and it's always been a situation where these things are being budgeted for, but not being executed and carried out the way they're meant to be. So I feel as though structurally from a franchise standpoint, that is where a lot of emphasis needs to be put in. And not even to the franchise per se, but the territories. We need to uplift the territories. The territories need to take a deeper look into their structures, hold a lot more people accountable. When, for example, if you pay to have a full-time physio or whatever and you don't have the full-time physio, who's to be held accountable for it? How do we deal with that? How do we make sure or ensure that our cricketers are getting the best that we can possibly give them under the circumstances and resources that we have? And I think we could do a lot better. I look at our situation here in Barbados, and Barbados is probably a lot more advanced than a lot of the other territories.
Definitely.
But I still don't feel as though we're maximizing our potential here in Barbados itself. And I still think we can do a lot more. And yes, COVID has posed a massive challenge. Just the other day, the BCA was trying to organize these practice games and stuff, and they had a few players coming down with COVID. So these are kind of the scenarios that you can be faced with. But outside of that competition, what more can be done to create that environment for development? To really have good coaching, good facilities, good structures. An entire complete system that can roll out, and well, look, I've done this on Monday, I've done this on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, this is what's planned, and there's a structure where you can now go back and say, well, look, if I pick up Nikhil has come the last 4 months, he's done 72 hours of batting, 48, whatever. You can actually detail it and strategically look back and just do an analysis of it. And that's where the world has gone to. I was actually talking to someone a couple of days ago about the difference in groundsman and groundskeeping. Now, when I go to Australia and England, you could go at the particular grounds we'll be playing at, and there were weather monitors within their groundsman's huts. We don't have that here. You got like the art of preparing pitches is down to science, man. The water content, the climate in terms of the heat, all these things are actually detailed and monitored. I don't think we do that here in the Caribbean. So you got a situation where we've been crying out for our pitches, but then you look at India, for example. Now, India's traditionally produced turning wickets, but now India's gone to a stage where a lot of their wickets now are flooded with grass. We've traditionally had a lot of grass on our wickets. Our wickets have been traditionally quicker, but now it's like taking a complete U-turn, and we've got some of the slowest pitches in the world. Some of the pitches that are very abrasive and turn from early stages, not particularly in Test cricket, but for sure in first class and regional cricket. And I think things like that is what we need to pay a bit closer attention to, so that we can absolutely nail down a structure that could harness and develop the talent that we have here in the Caribbean.
Yeah, spot on. And when you look back, let's look at, as we wrap up your career finally, Jason, you obviously spent now, January 2019, I think, was the first time you made it to the top of the all-rounders list in terms of the Test level, the first Barbadian to do it since the great Sir Gary Sobers. When you look back at your, which has been a successful 7-year career to date, I'm sure you have a lot more planned. What is that one quality that you think has allowed you to be successful consistently at the highest level? Because it's not easy to sustain that against the likes of a Ben Stokes, a Jadeja. There's so many Shakib Al Hasan, all-rounders around the world that consistently perform. So you have to be at top of your game every single time you step on that field. What was that big quality for you that you think has pushed you all the way through?
I definitely have. I feel as though I've got a really strong mind to make me determined. Like, I could be in a spell, and I use a perfect example. In the last tour to Sri Lanka, like, obviously conditions weren't suited for fast bowling, and I felt I bowled really well, but I didn't have any wickets. I coming down to pretty much my last innings bowling, and I was telling you guys, like, I can't remember a series that I've played and not got a wicket. And I felt as though I bowled well, went past the bat, caused trouble, was very economical, but I didn't have a wicket. And I was like, I cannot leave Sri Lanka without at least getting one wicket. And I went past the bat in our last partnership, past the bat, tight. And then it's just the next morning, I was like, all right, well, if I can't get a wicket here now, I don't know when to get it. But my determination was to get a wicket. My mindset was so focused on getting a wicket. I don't care who it was, but for me, knowing I left there with a wicket, was a mental plus for me. As bad as it may sound, but that's just the willpower I have, And I've been able to really fight my mind in terms of getting it to be where I want it to be. And if you talk about any of the great athletes, man, their minds are tuned differently. They simplify a complex scenario in a way where it's black and white, not black, white, red, green, gold. It's not all these different colors. So that's the greatest thing about great athletes, man. You look at Michael Jordan, you could call any great athlete. If you ask them about a particular successful scenario that they had, and you ask them what they were thinking, most of the time it's just one or two things. They don't have the whole complexities and the whole grand scope of what's going on around. They just narrow it down to one or two things, and they just focus on those two things, and it gets them through. So that's the kind of simplicity I try to use and try to work with, and just having that mindset, and that willpower, not to give up, not to throw any towel on until they achieve what they set out to achieve.
More oxygen means more energy, means more adventure. Pure Oxygen, natural spring water infused with more oxygen to improve your energy, immunity and performance. The next generation of hydration. Pure Oxygen, nature's ultimate water.
So, So, you're ready to purchase the vehicle but don't know where to start? Come visit us at Express Imports Inc. We're your one-stop shop, stocking a wide range of quality used vehicles to meet your every need. From sign-up and referrals to registration and routine maintenance, we're here for you. Give us a call at 537-0141 or come down to our Green Hill St. Michael location. Opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You can also join the Express family from the comfort of your home or office by using our online sign-up and viewing options. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Express Imports Inc.
Lastly, Jason, you know, we're in a COVID-19 pandemic, still withstanding. It's been extremely tough for so many people. And I draw a comparison to this, to a cricketer's career, because people see you guys on TV. We watch you at the World Cup, etc. And we say, oh yeah, it's easy. It looks so amazing that you guys are there. But no one knows the hard work that you put in behind the scenes, the times where you felt like giving up or where the goings got tough. What advice, away from cricket now, in terms of life, would you give to those people on the brink of giving up, or related to a time where you felt that, you know, you were close to giving up? What has, you know, given you the strength to go through? And given all professional athletes at the highest level that strength, what would be that advice to those people facing those challenges?
Well, one of the things I particularly focus on is what's in front of me. You know, I try not to get too caught up with what's gone or what's ahead, or what could potentially be ahead. You know, because what could be potentially ahead might change in so many different ways if you don't deal with what's in front of you. And for me, I feel as though I take it on in small increments, you know, and I've struggled particularly with bubbles, for example, and it has been very, very tough, just literally going from a ground to a hotel, you know, and I'm back. You know, there's nothing else to do, there's nowhere else to go. And England was the first tour since COVID, well, since the pandemic had started. And we literally stayed in Old Trafford. And in Old Trafford, we stayed at the ground. Yeah. The hotel is at the ground, so we literally, there was no bus. So for me these days, I look forward to the bus ride, because that's the only time outside the hotel you get. You know, the bus ride from the hotel to the ground. But in Old Trafford, there was no bus. So what we had, and my room was actually overlooking the ground. So it's pretty much in your face all the time. When we spent 3 weeks in Manchester leading up to the first test match, we drove down to Southampton, played the first test match, and right back up to Manchester, played last two. So it's basically, we had, I would say, 5 weeks in Manchester without moving. And like, my mind just started to race. Like, you would hear the have a cover every morning, starting up, trying to move, and that was my wake-up call. That was my alarm. I didn't have to set an alarm. So from the time you heard that have a cover going on, that means that there's no rain outside, and it's time to go. But it's hard. It's hard, and I just ask myself, what's the other alternative? If I throw in the towel now, I could go back home. There's nothing to do at home. There's no work. My job is cricket. So I just look at it and asking myself, like, what is the other alternative? You know, if I throw in the towel now, it doesn't solve my issue. It doesn't make my life any easier. If anything, it makes my life a lot more complex and difficult. So it's then trying to find ways now to keep the mind attuned, to keep your mind fresh. So I pick back up video games. I've watched more TV in my life than I have, well, in my life, sorry, and I've had more interaction now. I think COVID has brought people closer together and strengthened relationships, because like on tour, there's no one else to turn to. So simply my advice would be to just try to simplify your whole scenario and just try to look at what's in front of you at that present time, you know. Analyze what's happened in the past, but try not to go too hard in projecting what could happen in the future, but just deal with it now. And I feel as though you might have a better scope and ways to tackle certain situations.
Well, Jason, I mean, you touched on everything in terms of the big questions that many people want to know. I think in terms of your legacy and what you've been able to achieve, you're still a young man. I'm sure a lot to achieve, even though you speak like an old man or may look like it sometimes on the field, but nah. I think you know, in terms of the impact you've made in not only Barbados but the West Indies, I think to even consider along the likes of a Brian Lara or Sir Garfield Sobers just shows you how great, you know, what you've been able to do has been. And honestly, wish you all the best, and I can't wait to see, you know, even after your playing days, because of the wealth of knowledge that you have, the depth in the game, what you're capable of doing. I mean, who knows for just another one day, but no, man. Thank you so much for this time, and it was a quality interview, and I'm sure a lot of people will gain a lot of value from it.
Thanks a lot for having me, man. It's a pleasure being here, and I wish you all the best as well, too.
Cheers.
So, you're ready to purchase the vehicle but don't know where to start? Come visit us at Express Imports Inc. We're your one-stop shop, stocking a wide range of quality used vehicles to meet your every need. From sign-up and referrals to registration and routine maintenance, we're here for you. Give us a call at 537-0141 or come down to our Green Hill St. Michael location. Opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You can also join the Express family from the comfort of your home or office by using our online sign-up and viewing options. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Express Imports Inc.